All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Mike, as usual. And today, this is the third stream of today, but right now we're going to be breaking down Bellator 284. So this is going to be the last show for today. Took me a minute, but I broke down PFL, I broke down Bellator, and for tomorrow, I have the Contender Series fights already all broken down. I already posted 3 spots, so make sure you're following me on Twitter so you can catch those. And yeah, let's go right into Bellator. Let's break this down and let's go our separate ways. I need a break. It's been a long week. So I'll give you guys my bets at the end and while we go along. And I know that like 1 or 2 fights either got canceled or replaced. So we're going to have to work around that. But everything else should be okay. Let me pull up our Bellator Tales of the Tape. I closed it by accident. Gonna have to reopen that. Apologize. Like I said, it's been a chaotic day. Chaotic days, honestly. But all right. True. Like the first 6 fights here are all setups for like NCAA guys or wrestling guys, and it's pretty funny. They do it so shamelessly. They just set them up with guys like you'll watch the opponent, and 1 minute in they're getting taken down, and it's like clear as day why they're the opponent for that particular person. But was able to find 2 spots in those setups, so hopefully it can still be profitable for us. But let's get right into this. Just got all the Tapology stuff open. Let's share my screen. All right. All right, let's get right into it. So for this first fight, we have Brett Bai versus Ma Yah. I looked it up how to pronounce his name, and it's Ma Yah. So Bai, 1-0, undefeated as a pro. He is 25 years old, 5'10", and he's training out of Next Edge Academy of MMA. And on the other side, Ma Yah, he's 4-0 as a pro, 22 years old, so he's 3 years younger here. 6'2", so he's got 4 inches in height. And he's training out of, we're going to have to go with Skywalker 101 Boxing Academy. So, yeah, this one's interesting. Ma Yah opened up as a favorite, and I believe he still is. Yeah, and money has been coming in on Bai, and I think that's because people are seeing him as a wrestler. They see the fact that he wrestled in college, and they're like, oh, this is one of the guys they're trying to set up. But if it is one of the guys they're trying to set up, this is a terrible matchup for him. So he made his amateur debut 5 months ago. He's very green. Now he's a pro, has 1 fight under him. His striking is actually decent. Good knees to the body against the fence in the clinch. Good jab, 1-2's all right. But he's still sloppy, still super green. It's very clear. Wrestling is pretty good, but his defensive wrestling isn't all that. You know, he was getting taken down by a much lesser fighter in his first amateur fight once he got tired. So that's not a good look. And then you look at Ma Yah, right? What does he do good? He grapples good, right? So he's got good offensive wrestling. His entries can get sloppy, but like he does smart things. Like he'll go for the ankle when he's already in on the other leg. He's just intelligent with the wrestling. And because of that, because I think he can exhaust Bai by just defending the takedowns of Bai, maybe getting his own, tiring Bai out. And on the feet, I give the advantage to Ma Yah. I think that his striking is better, even though he does also get a bit sloppy. I think he's a bit more straight down the pipe. And he throws nice leg kicks that I think can help him slow down the fight as well. So my pick is going to be Ma Yah. Am I going to bet on this fight? No, there's no way. And I actually just realized neither of these guys has had a pro fight. I totally made a mistake. This is an amateur fight still. Neither of them have made a debut yet for a pro. Totally messed that up. So Brett Bai just has that 1 fight, and Ma Yah has these 4 amateur fights. So yeah, because it's an amateur fight, I already don't really want to bet it. And then add into the fact that the matchup is just kind of like, I don't know, greasy, let's call it. Like I think Ma Yah should win, but at the end of the day, you know, he is fighting but a good American wrestler, you know. So should be an interesting amateur bout. My pick is Ma Yah. Am I going to bet it? No. Maybe if we get him at even money, but nah. I don't think you should bet him, but that's the pick. Moving right along. This is going to be my first bet of the card, and I don't love it. I like it, but it just makes me deeply uncomfortable. So we've got McKee versus Tony Ortega. McKee is 2-0, 24 years old, 5'7", 66-inch reach, and he's training out of my personal favorite camp, Sanford MMA. On the other side, we've got Tony Ortega, 5'4", 29 years old, 5'7", and I have him training out of, I don't have a camp for him. So Ortega hasn't fought in a year, pretty much exactly a year, right? And then you look at McKee, he's clearly one of these guys that they're trying to push, His wrestling is really good. His entries are really good. He's a 4-time NCAA qualifier, 2019 NCAA All-American, 2020 NWCA All-American, and he's last fought just 4 months ago. Kid's a beast. He's very green still in the striking, but it's good. I think he's got the striking edge here. He's got a very clear grappling edge. You look at Ortega, right? I mentioned earlier, for pretty much all the wrestler matchups, you just only have to watch like 10 to 50 seconds of the opponent, and you'll see them get taken down. And what happened in Ortega's most recent tape? He got taken down pretty easy, and the guy took his back. So not a good look. Not a good look at all. And I'm pretty sure he ended up losing that fight too. I don't remember off the top of my head. Nah, I believe he picked up the dub there. Yeah, but he did get his back taken, and he did get taken down. And against a guy like McKee, that is not something you want to see. So I am going to be playing McKee inside the distance. He's got 2 KO wins. Ortega's only got 1 KO loss, and it was an injury, a shoulder injury. But I just see McKee taking him down, controlling him, and just ground and pounding. Can he get a sub here? Probably. Live as well. That's why I played inside the distance. I thought I got a good line. I got minus 180 for, I think it's like, I think it's a very clear setup matchup for McKee. He's minus 900. At minus 180 to get the job done inside the distance, I don't hate it. Now it's minus 185. I think it's still all right. I don't like betting props like this that are so like juiced, but I feel pretty comfortable with it. I got it for 3 units, minus 180. I think you should be able to finish this fight. And we won't waste too much more time on that, and we'll move on to another setup fight. All right, so here we've got Bailey Schoenfelder versus Mark Currier. Schoenfelder 2-0, 24 years old, 6'3", 76-inch reach, and he's training out of my favorite camp, Sanford MMA. On the other side, Currier, he's 25 years old, 1-0, 6'5", and he's training out of Mason Fight Team. So this was just absolute comedy. First of all, Currier's Instagram is so funny. Like, his Instagram just cracks me up. I don't know what it is. It's just mad funny. There's like a picture of him there as like a kid, like holding a title, and he's like the champ. And it's just all just jokes. And then you watch his fights, and I don't know what it is. It's just absolute comedy. It's absolute comedy. Like, all right, his last fight, right? His last fight was hysterical, man. So his 1-2 is actually pretty good, right? But he telegraphs so much that his opponent, who's like god awful as well, fully just, and we're talking about 2 huge 6'5", very heavy heavyweights. His opponent ducks under, takes him down, and finishes him down there. And it was just unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And you look at Schoenfelder, he's another one of these wrestlers, not a college wrestler. He was a state wrestling champ, and then he played football for University of Minnesota. But we are talking about a very athletic man. 6'3", guy is ripped, and he's pretty good. He's a good fighter. He has good striking. Like the other ones, he's still very green there. But the wrestling's there. The athleticism is there. The strength is there. The camp is there. And the setup is there. This guy, Mark Currier, unless he pulls a big tuna and gets a lucky shot, which, is always possible, he's not going to win this fight, But it's also unplayable. You've got Schoenfelder at minus 1,500 right now. And if you play his KO prop, it's minus 175. And while I think that hits, I just don't like that. If I'm betting on a wrestler and I think they can either get a TKO ground and pound or a sub, I get uncomfortable. I do think he gets a KO, but do I want to bet minus 175 on it? No, not really. I don't. So we'll move along. Big shout out to anybody watching live. I see you guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And hopefully I can help you guys find some spots. So moving on. For this one, I am going to have to wiki cap Keys Nelson, because they just replaced this. Patrick Downey originally was fighting this guy Soder, and again, it was another guy who instantly, when you turned on his tape, you see him getting taken down. But now he's not fighting him. So let's look up Nelson real quick, figure out who this man is, because he's 0-3-0. Clearly another setup, 6 feet tall. Let's see. It's funny. I'm looking at it now. Nelson actually has an amateur win over the guy that was supposed to fight Patrick Downey. So that's funny. Let's see. He's been choked out once in his pro debut 2018. 2 KO losses in 2019, and then never fought again until now. So, yeah, I mean, how can you not like Patrick Downey here? You look at his career, you look at his wrestling. He wrestled for Iowa State, 2016 NCAA All-American, 5th place, 2016 Big 12 Championships, 3rd place. You know, it's his first ever pro fight for Downey, or his first ever amateur fight. He's never fought before. But I think that's why they're setting him up with such awful opponents. It is a setup match, and we're not going to be betting this in any fashion. I mean, look, we don't have the odds on this particular matchup, but I can't imagine it's going to be much different from what it was already, except maybe it'll be deeper even. But Patrick Downey's unplayable. You know, money line's minus 1,500. His inside the distance is minus 400. His KO is plus 275. Subs minus 130. Yeah, I don't suggest playing any of those. And we'll move along, because there's no point in spending too much time on these setups. Second. Oh, you guys can actually see how adjusted it is. Okay. So let me make it a little bigger. Cool. Well, that's a little too much now. All right. That's what we're going to go with. All right. Moving along. Another setup fight. We've got Sullivan Cauley versus Tyson Jeffries. Cauley's 3-0, 26 years old, 6'3", 75-inch reach. And I have him training with Ryan Bader. And then Tyson Jeffries on the other side is 14, 10-0. He's a vet compared to Sullivan Cauley, 24-3 fights, 6'1", so he's given up 2 inches in height, 74-inch reach, giving up 1 inch in reach, and he's training out of American Top Team Portland. So out of all of the wrestlers getting a setup fight, I would say they're probably giving Cauley the hardest one. I was watching the striking of Jeffries. It's actually pretty good. He's very hittable, but I feel like his striking is pretty good. I mean, I think he's going to be able to hold his own on the feet. 7 sub wins, 2 sub losses. He did end up losing his Eagly fight. I think it was his second to last one by ground and pound. He got taken down a few times there. A few times he ended up on top because he does seem to have decent hips, but I doubt it's going to be enough here. Cauley wrestled for Arizona State, never been out of round 1 as a pro, which I don't love, but there's a reason behind that. 2 inches taller, 2-inch reach advantage. His striking's gotten really good. He does good work in the clinch. He's got great counters, and he keeps things straight. His takedowns, very good. His ground and pound, fantastic. His defensive grappling, get this. He got taken down in his last fight against it was a 1-on-1 guy. He got taken down, and like the commentary was like, "Oh, that wasn't a takedown." Like Big John was like, "Oh, that wasn't a takedown. He got right back up. There's no control." Bro, that was a takedown. Just relax yourself. Like, you can say that he got taken down. Like, he's still a good fighter. I hate when they do that. Like Kamaru Usman, 1,000,000% got taken down by Covington. And why? Why did we not count that? Who knows? But anyways, back to this fight. I think Cauley should run through him. You look at Jeffries. He hasn't fought since 2018. And I think this is, again, another setup fight for Cauley. Like I said, you looked at Jeffries, got taken down by Eagly in that fight. He has been taken down on the regionals. So I actually did place a bet here. You look at Jeffries, he's been knocked out 5 times. Cauley won all 3 of his wins by KO. And he's one of these guys who's it appears he's starting to fall in love with his striking. So that's good for me if I'm betting the KO. And also, when he does get the top position on the ground, he hasn't shown that he's looking for subs. He's never got one even as an amateur. But he does go for ground and pound. So I played his KO prop at minus 160. I don't love it, but I feel like it's a decent spot here. I played it for just 1 unit, and that's my play here. Oh, I almost closed you guys. All right, moving along. We've got a rematch here. All right, we've got Deanna Bennett versus Justine Kish. Bennett is 12-7-1, 37 years old, 5'4", 66-inch reach, and I've got her training under Dan Gracie in Philly right now, which is very good for her. And then Kish on the other side is 8-5-0, 34 years old, 5'5", 65-inch reach. She's given up 1 inch in reach, but she's 1 inch taller. And I've got her training out of Kings Harbor MMA, and she does seem to have spent some time at Cyborg's camp, so that's what I got down for her. And yeah, I mean, I just watched the rematch. I also saw the Kish Macfarlane fight. I watched that one live. I ran it back. You know, it was a good win for Kish, but like Macfarlane's been overrated for a minute now. And you watch the Bennett fight, right? And I just feel like not enough has changed to not bet Bennett. You know, I do think that Kish is live if she can keep the fight on the feet. I did like what she was doing on the feet. I thought that her striking looked good. I thought that her jab looked great. Her elbows in the pocket were very good. She mixed targets, countered well. She could be pretty hittable, and she was dipping her head, which I didn't love. But I just felt like she was the better striker in that matchup. I felt like Bennett's a bit limited in the striking and a bit hittable. But Bennett got those takedowns pretty easy, you know, and I don't see enough changing here where that's gonna change. So I do think Bennett wins again. Do I have any interest in betting her at minus 255? No, I don't. I rather stub my toe than bet that. That's a pretty terrible thing to do, minus 255 on Bennett. But yeah, I think she wins the fight. It's unbettable. Don't put your hard-earned cash on that fight, and we're gonna move on. So this is one I'd like to dig deeper into. There's a few at the tail end of this card that I want to dig a little deeper, but this is one of them. We've got Josh Hill versus Marcos Breno. Hill is 21-4-0, 35 years old, 5'6", with a 67-inch reach. And then Breno on the other side is 14-2-0, 24 years old, 5'5". We do not have a reach for him. And let's see. I have him training out of Texera MMA. So I was watching these guys. I started with Breno. He's got something to like, you know, he knocked out Ari Farias in LFA literally with like one punch, or just like a right hand that clipped him, put him to sleep. Or it might have been the left. I don't remember which hand it was, but it was just one punch. So he's clearly got power, but his own, like the striking technique itself isn't anything crazy. He loops everything a bit, and he's just a bit hittable. I don't love it. He dips his head. His wrestling's pretty decent, but I don't think that's going to be available here against a guy in Josh Hill. You know, Josh Hill training in House of Champions MMA / his own gym, Vision Quest. His striking, a bit low output. His stuff can also be a bit loopy, but I think that he's going to have the straighter striking. I think he's going to have more success countering here. He has a decent high guard, so I like his defense better. And I think he should be able to keep it on the feet if he wants it there. And then if he wants to take it to the ground, I think he's got the better offensive wrestling. And I think he should be able to get those takedowns. He's fought the much better competition. He is 11 years older than Breno. But I'm going to need to see more from Breno to be able to back him anywhere. Josh Hill is minus 165. Breno plus 140. I think that Hill wins this fight, keeps it on the feet, or honestly takes the fight or keeps the fight where he wants it, because I think he's got that grappling edge. And the striking, I still give to Hill. So Hill's the pick. Not going to bet that one. And we'll move right along. All right. So here we've got Austin Vanderford versus Aaron Jeffrey. Vanderford is 11-1-0, 32 years old, 5'11", 74-inch reach, and he's training out of American Top Team. On the other side, you've got Jeffrey. He's 12-3-0, 29 years old, 6'2". So he's, 3 inches taller, 74-inch reach. They got the same reach. And he's training out of Niagara Top Team. So this one's pretty interesting, right? Vanderford, you look at him. What was his last few fights? So he lost to Mousasi very fast. I just rewatched that, and I was like, damn, that sucked for Vanderford. And then before that, he fought Fabian Edwards, primarily a striker who struggles with grappling. Before that, Vinicius de Jesus, where he also found grappling. You know, if he can't get the grappling, as shown in the Mousasi fight, he's uncomfortable. He's uncomfortable. His striking is very basic. There's not much there. It's limited, and it's very loopy. I think Jeffrey is going to have a clear striking edge here on the feet. It's all really going to come down to Can Vanderford get those takedowns when he wants them? I think he will. But the next question is, can he hold Aaron Jeffrey down? And that's where I'm not convinced. You look at Aaron Jeffrey, he's got good takedown defense. And in his fight against Kai Baraya, right, on the Contender Series, he got taken down 3 times. How much control time did he give up, though? 2 minutes. That's it. And meanwhile, he racked up 6 minutes of control time against the fence. So I think that Jeffrey's live here. I think he's definitely live. I'm nervous to put any kind of money on it just because, Vanderford is a legit wrestler. And if he can get it going and keep it going, this fight should be all his, right? But I kind of do want to take a half unit shot on Jeffrey. I'll probably do it soon because the line is moving towards him. Other people are seeing what I'm seeing, I think, with the striking. So, yeah, I'm probably going to bet Jeffrey. He's looked great since he's made it into Bellator. 2 fights, 2 wins so far. So, definitely the way I'm looking at it. Will I get there? Probably. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Couch Warrior Pod. That's where I post all my bets when I make them. So, that's where you're going to find it if I do place that bet. But moving right along, here we've got Sowma versus Gokhan Saricam. Sowma is 8-3-0, 30 years old, 6 feet tall, 76-inch reach, and he's training out of American Top Team. Saricam on the other side is 7-1-0, 31 years old, 6'3", so he's got 3 inches of height here. They've got identical reaches at 76 inches, and Saricam trains out of MMA Factory under Fernand Lopez over there. He's got some pictures with the guys Imavov, Gokhan, those fellas. So he's definitely getting in good work. If he's working with Gokhan, he's definitely getting in good work. And yeah, I mean, to me, this just comes down to these are 2 strikers. Neither of them really grapples. Sowma, 1 sub win, 0 sub losses. You look at Saricam, 0 sub wins, 1 sub loss to Mowry, who we're going to talk about in like 2 fights. And like the best win Sowma has is Vitaly Minikov. And that's a fight that Minikov was winning until he broke his finger. So I just don't see much out of Sowma to love. Low output, a bit sloppy, a bit flat-footed, a bit hittable. Striking's just okay. Like, I think that Saricam's the much better striker. I think he has the faster hands. He's got a great 1-2. So he's got good technical basics. And just in general, I think he's the better striker here. He's 3 inches taller. So even though they have the same reach, he should be able to use that reach better than Sowma will. And, the odds aren't great. Saricam -180, Sowma +155. Would be really great if people decided to bet Sowma down a little bit. These guys opened up at a pick'em. I'm looking now. You can get -175 on Caesars. Look, maybe I'll get there with like a unit or a half unit. It's not going to be a big bet at all because you can't be that confident in guys like this. But I just don't see where Sowma covers Saricam. I just don't see it. So I'm going to be going with Saricam here. That's my pick. Am I going to get to a bet? I'm not sure. This is one of the few fights that I want to keep going with in terms of tape. So make sure you're tuning into my Twitter, as I mentioned, and that way you won't miss it if I do place a bet. All right. So this one, I'm going to say right away, I didn't get to really tape this, so not really going to break it down at all for you guys. Bruna Ellen's had a few fights in Bellator now. I do think that Ilima-Lei Macfarlane is being overlooked just because everyone's just like crapping on her now. And she's had a few fights, where she didn't do very good. But, she was still champ. She did still beat a lot of women. Her grappling is decent. I don't think very highly of her. I think she was fed a lot of, easy fights. But I'm not sure. I need to watch the tape on Bruna Ellen. I don't have an opinion here. So I'm not going to tell you guys either way. I just didn't want to really break this fight down. I felt like I'd rather spend the time on fights like this. So I do have a bet here. And let's get right into this fight. So we've got Valentin Moldavsky taking on Steve Mowry. Moldavsky 11-2-0. In my mind, should be 12-1-0. 6'1", 75-inch reach, training out of Alexander Nevsky. Mowry over here is 10-0, undefeated, 30 years old, 6'8". So he's a big man. He's as tall as Renan Ferreira. Was talking about him earlier today. That could be a fun fight. Imagine they could actually break the cage. 79-inch reach, so he's got a 4-inch reach advantage. And I believe he's at Sanford MMA also. He is. Of course, he's got to be at my favorite camp. But yeah, I like Moldavsky here. And why do I like Moldavsky? First of all, I think he beat Ryan Bader. Both Bader got a home advantage there in terms of the decision. And then Benson Henderson, I think he got the decision because he paraded his family throughout the octagon and got to the point where the judges were like, damn, we can't give this guy the nail now. His little kid is over there on his shoulders and he didn't even win yet. That pissed me off, but back to this fight. So I think it really comes down to this. Mowry, while he's a great grappler, his wrestling is good and it's worked against the guys he's fought so far. And his BJJ has worked on the guys he's fought so far. I don't think he's going to have that to lean on here. We're talking about a Sambo player in Moldavsky that's very legit. His wrestling is very solid. He was the one taking Ryan Bader down. His defensive wrestling, very legit. And he's got 3 sub wins himself, none since 2016, but he's never been submitted. And I do not think that Mowry is going to be the first to do it. I give Moldavsky a slight striking edge. His output's low, and he depends on counters, but I still think he's more technical. My main concern is just him closing the distance, but I think he should be able to do that. And Mowry's striking, I just don't think much of it. It's a bit limited in my opinion. He still has a long way to go. They fed him a lot of easy fights, and he's made it this far. And I just feel like this is a test he's not ready for. I think that he needs to pick up the striking more because if he's going to be dependent on subs and wrestling here, he's not going to find success, in my opinion. So I like Moldavsky. I played him at minus 180, I believe, for 2 units. You can still get that line, but only on DraftKings. So if you like that, I would suggest you go get that now because I don't think that line's going to last much longer. So Valentin Moldavsky is a pick for me. I think he's the better striker, and I don't see Mowry being able to find grappling success here. So yeah, now we're up to the main event of the evening. And this one was really interesting to me. I was very hyped to break it down. And the Tapology picks are even more interesting to me. Yeah, see that? Yamauchi's the favorite on Tapology. But here we've got Neiman Gracie versus Goiti Yamauchi. Gracie is 11-3-0. He's 33 years old, 6 feet tall, 74-inch reach, and he's training at a Renzo Gracie Academy over here in New York City. On the other side, you've got Yamauchi. He's 27-5-0, 29 years old, 5'10", 74-inch reach, and I do believe he's training out of his own team right now. And yeah, so I believe this is only Yamauchi's second fight at welterweight in Bellator. I know that his last one against, I think it was Chokashvili. I know it was a Georgian. I just don't remember. Chokelly, maybe. I don't remember the exact last name. But he got a quick sub there. He got an armbar. And look, I just think this is kind of similar to the Mowry fight. I mean, not so much because I think the striking here is going to be pretty close. I don't think that Yamauchi is necessarily far behind Gracie. He might even be ahead of him. I wouldn't really say so. I don't love the way he flurries in with his strikes, and he does have a good kicking game, but normally if you're a good BJJ player, you're down to kick because if they catch your kicks, you're cool with going down. But do you really want to go to the ground with Neiman Gracie? I don't think so. Goiti Yamauchi, he is a good fighter. He is a good submission artist. 11 sub wins on his record, and that's with 11 fights on Tapology missing results. So it could be he's got even more subs, and that's probably the case. He's only got 2 KO wins, 0 KO losses. Gracie's got 1 KO win, and that was Mark Lemminger, 0 KO losses. This is another fight I want to tape more of. I've already got Gracie down, but I just want to tape it more, get a better read on it. I played at Gracie at I don't remember. I got him at minus 165 for 2 units. I think that minus 190, minus 185 is starting to get a little bit too wide. I think it might be a pretty close fight. These are 2 grapplers and what happens when you have 2 high-level grapplers? Oftentimes you end up with a striking match. It's hard to tell, but I think that Gracie's got an edge there. Good jab, solid striking, keeps it clean. And he's the natural welterweight here. So, and with the BJJ edge, I am going to have to go with Neiman Gracie. I played him at minus 165 for those 2 units, and that's it. That's the Bellator card. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to anyone who is watching live. You guys are the best and the reason I do this. And yeah, let me go over my picks real quick for you guys, and then we'll get the heck out of here. So only 2 money line plays. We're playing Valentin Moldavsky for minus 182 units, and we're playing Neiman Gracie at minus 165 for 2 units. And then we're playing McKee inside the distance, minus 185, 3 units. And then we're playing Cauley wins by KO or TKO, minus 160, just 1 unit. And that's it. My PFL picks. You're going to have to go tune in to the PFL show to get those, or just go to my Twitter or my Bet MMA page. Same goes for everything else. I also have UFC picks. Obviously, do that every week. I've put up Contender Series picks already. I like to think I was pretty good at beating the lines, so make sure to check that out. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. No more shows today, thank the heavens. Tomorrow we're going live for the Contender Series, so make sure not to miss that. I like to do it nice and early for you guys so you can get your bets in before those lines blow up. So thank you guys for tuning in, and have a good one.